Hello everyone and welcome back to my favourite room in the house. Before I start today, I do need to apologise. My voice sounds awfully deep because I am as sick as a dog. Sore throat, runny nose, the whole shooting match. It's been a strange old week in the Trickshot household. Mrs. Trickshot is also crook. And to compound matters, we have discovered that part of our sewer line to the house is closed over. So the toilet was backing up, and the plumber is here today, trying their best to to free things up again. So it's been an incredible couple of days for us, and I thought I'd do a short video this morning because a package rocked up unexpectedly yesterday, and it was just the ticket for the way I've been feeling all week. It was from my great mate Adam Howes, the Shark-Eyed Tour Review. If you don't subscribe to his channel, please go and have a look at it. Adam's one of my best mates. We talk every day, even though we live miles apart. We get along famously. We often do YouTube streams together. So if you're not subscribed to him, please head over there, give him a subscribe, check out some of his stuff because he's a quality dude. So the package that rocked up yesterday, as I said, it was completely unexpected. I opened it up, and there was something in there that was wrapped up nicely in bubble wrap with this note. And before I read it out, I've just got to cover up part of it because it's quite rude. But this is the note. It says, "Hey mate, just a token of appreciation for being the mate that you are. Thanks for everything you do. It makes my life a more enjoyable one. Love ya." And then there's an expletive there that I've covered with my thumb. It's a commonly used word in Australia, which is very rude all over the rest of the world, but it's something that Adam and I use in love. I won't show you that. If you really want to know what it is, send me a DM and on Instagram, and I'll send you the full transcript of this note. What was in the box was even better. It was this guy. It is the gijoe Classified Frag Viper. I don't usually collect classified figures because 6-inch just isn't my scale. That's the first thing. But the other thing is, as I explained in one of my other videos the other day, they're not really visible on shelf in Australia. They're hard to come by. Adam, though, he has his connections. And the reason he bought me this figure is because Frag Viper, the original Frag Viper, and there he is there's the 3 3/4 inch version. He was the first Cobra figure I got my hands on as a little kid. So I'm really attached to Frag Viper. I was looking forward to seeing the classified version, and I was honestly going to wait for a reduction in price on the Frag Viper before I went out and purchased him. But Adam took it upon himself to go and grab one for me and put it in the post, and as I said before, it couldn't have rocked up at a better time. I'm sick and the plumbing's on the blink, so it was a real fill up. I will put my old Frag Viper there and we'll have a look at this one. First up, the artwork on the box is fantastic. It really makes me think of my childhood when I was running around in the backyard with my Frag Viper and my dial tone. He certainly captures the mystique and the ferocity, if I can use such a word, of the Frag Viper, or how I used to remember him when I was a little fella. So the packaging, all in all, was really cool. I've got a couple of classified figures. They were from the early run, and the packaging seems to improve somewhat. It's a lot smaller, which is, something I don't mind. But all in all, very well presented. So I'm going to open him up, and I haven't opened him yet, so you're going to be right here as I do it and play around with him. Let's just get my trusty knife in here and remove this sticky tape. There we go. Here we are. I'm not sure if I'll keep the box. I'm not usually a keeper of boxes, but we'll see how we go. Because it's a gift, I certainly will think twice about keeping this one. There's a nice backdrop in these boxes, hey? Nice Cobra logo. And that looks like, is that removable? I think it is. Maybe, yeah, it is cool. So I could perhaps take a photo of my Frag Viper, maybe for Instagram a little bit later with that backdrop. I'll try not to get too much glare off my light back there, so I apologise. I've said it before. I'm no, I'm no Steven Spielberg. This is just me in my little old spare room recording these videos. So, if it looks a bit low rent, I do apologise. Just put the box to one side. There's some instructions there as well. I'm not really sure what these say. I think it's just a small parts warning, I reckon, in all different languages, which is interesting. Well, it's not really interesting, but, you know, does that add any value at all? Probably not. Well, that's enough of that little sheet of paper, but let's have a look at the figure. First impressions? This is cool. This is really cool. Obviously, the original Frag Viper didn't have a removable helmet, so we never actually knew what he looked like under that helmet. I always imagined him to be a full sort of Darth Vader setup underneath there. And funnily enough, what Hasbro have developed is very similar to the Darth Vader with no helmet on. Well, I think so anyway. I'm no Star Wars expert either, but he looks a bit cyborg. He looks a bit half human, half machine. He looks a bit decrepit, which is, funnily enough, exactly as I imagined he would be under that helmet. So I'll pop him out. Let's see if we can get him out. Whoopsie! I've got to be careful. This is a grenade with a smoke effect on it. That's pretty cool. So let's see if we can get the figure out first. Alright, that's pretty cool. First thing I notice is he just feels nice. Like I said, I don't have a lot of classifieds, but the way these feel, it's just beautiful. The plastic is soft without being too flexible or too rubbery or too brittle. He's really cool. So the original Frag Viper didn't have a lot of this sort of harness sort of setup that the Classified does. I remember having a chat with Adam about this before I got this figure, and I said I could probably do without this harness sort of setup because the original one didn't have that. But now that I've got it in hand, I think it sort of sets off the figure really beautifully. I actually can't imagine this one without that. I think it would be a little bit boring if we just did away with the harness and he just wore the sash. So actually, yeah, now that I've got it in hand, I don't mind that. The only other concern from seeing the reviews online was the SMG. So the SMG on the Frag Viper is pretty iconic. He's got one SMG, and it's a little bit different to the SMGs that are supplied with this figure. So I think there's some steer tape over this. I'll just gotta peel it off, I reckon. Bear with us a tick. Here we go. Oh, careful, careful, careful. The dog's asleep on the floor right here next to me, and I mean, while he wouldn't swallow this kind of thing, he definitely would sniff around and make it hard for me to pick it up. So I'm just going to be careful. So I'm told these are sort of reused from an earlier Classified figure, and they are a lot different to the original SMG. Funnily enough, the original SMG looks a little bit bigger. That's nuts. Actually, having said that, the Frag Viper does have these holsters on his leg. So these holsters on the Classified Frag Viper don't look out of place, really, when you compare to the original. So they pop into there, which I will do now. There we go. That works. That works good enough. I'm pretty happy with that. We'll stand him up. I apologise if I'm not giving you a good view of this guy. I'm discovering it as you are. So it's Yeah, it's all new to me as well. It's new to me to do reviews on classified figures as well. Usually I've got the camera pointed down because I'm fiddling with 3 3/4 inch figures and not 6-inch figures. This is the hose, which again represents the original version quite closely. And then you've got the scoop from the highlight pastime that the South American peoples used to engage in. If you don't know what highlight is, look it up. It's an interesting looking sport. So I'll just try and attach this. It all seems to work pretty easy. I've never really done this before, so I'm gonna open his hands like this. Maybe clip them in there first, like that, and then and then push the holster around the forearm. There we go. I think that works. Yeah, looks pretty good. I've put it in his right arm, mainly because I display the figure, the original figure, with the highlight scoop in his right arm. The other thing I noticed here is that there's a gauntlet on this side, so maybe the scoop is meant to go on that side. The backpack here looks exactly the same for all intents and purposes. It's very cool. So I'll plug that onto his back. Oh, that's a bit stiff. Giggity, as Adam would say. I'll chuck that on there though. I think one of the I suppose common complaints with classified figures is that the backpacks don't tend to stay in some of those early figures, but because this one took a fair bit of plugging in, I'd say that's not going to be a problem with this guy. I'll turn the camera down a little bit so we can see what we're looking at here. There we go. I hope that's better. And I'll just pull the helmet out nice and carefully. Whoopsie, I dropped his head. So, the helmet's actually really cool. Yeah, that's very cool. It's exactly the same. Exactly the same as the original. So that's very exciting. Oops. I'm losing some bits off my 1989 version there. All right, so I'll put the lid on. There we go. How cool does that look? That's very cool. Plug the hose in here and plug it in the back there. There we go. That's nice. And there's obviously a little hole there for the grenade hose, the grenade feeder hose. And then that goes in there like that. Oh, that is so cool. How good's that? I'm very excited about that. Oh man. Thank you so much, Adam. That's going to look phenomenal in my cabinet. Check him out. I might even take him outside and take some Instagram photos. Maybe put this. We'll put the scoop grenade in. Look, I guess everyone else has fiddled around with the articulation in their reviews, so I won't worry about doing that. You can check out their videos if you want. I suppose I just wanted to get across my sincerest thanks to Adam for surprising me this figure, especially when I'm feeling crook like I am, and I've just thrown down a bunch of money on a plumber. It couldn't have rocked up at a better time. So thanks, Adam. And I just wanted to get across my excitement for the figure as well. Obviously, that Frag Viper, as I said, was the second gijoe I got when I was a kid, and my first Cobra. So certainly is of great nostalgic value to me. I'm overall really impressed with that figure, and if you'll excuse me, I'm going to play with him a little bit more off camera. So until next time, feel free to subscribe to my channel, or like this video, or leave a comment. By all means, I'll happily reply. I'm all about making friends with my YouTube channel more than anything else. So don't just lurk, hit subscribe, leave me a comment, and get involved. Anyways, that's all I've got for you. I'll see you next time. Yo, Joe.